I'm like, you don't have to stay, like you don't have to, because I didn't want him to feel trapped. I didn't want him to feel, you know, like he had to stick around and be a father. And it sounds stupid because of course I want my kid to have a father. Hey guys, Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys have been enjoying this series. I am trying to just be as raw and candid for you guys and just share my experiences as I've gone through them. Hope you guys find them encouraging and I don't know, interesting nonetheless, just to get to learn a little bit about me and understand my background and where I'm coming from. If you guys are not familiar with what I'm talking about, head over to part 1 and part 2. I will have them in the description box below. That way you can like just follow the story and you can just watch them all consecutively, and it will make all the sense in the world, and I recommend watching them, so definitely check it out. Anyways, this is part 3, and part 3 basically touching base about like being pregnant in high school. So I've already gone through discovering my pregnancy, hiding it for a while, finally telling my parents, and now it's out in the open. And at this rate, by the time I got pregnant, really I was still in high school, but I wasn't like going to high school for months on end, because I think we had just gotten out of high school. I think I went to summer school, so I was still kind of in high school, but in summer school for the summer. By the time I was done that, it was like 3 months of school. I was working a lot because I had to try to earn as much money to try to save for our baby. In the last part, I was explaining that the way I shopped for my kids, or shopped for my daughter, I learned to just go to consignment shop. I just try to be smart because we didn't have a lot of money and we were teens. But one thing I made sure I did on my end, because I knew we were so young, and I didn't know how guaranteed things were of just working, even though I trusted and I loved my relationship and all those things. I'm a very, like I was saying the other day, I'm a very rational person, and as much as we want this to work, it may not work. So I was just trying to make sure I did whatever I could to help secure my future, the future of myself and my baby. Not to sound mean, but as women, we kind of have to do that. Because we kind of have to do that, especially when things are so new, things are so, when we're so young. So one of the things that I did was, like I said, I applied for government housing for like assistance in a sense. What that is that they help you find a house to live in with your child, especially if you're not, for some cases, like for people who don't even have a home. So I mean, I was fortunate enough to have a home at my parents', but then I felt like I didn't want to bombard them with my whole new life, because now it wasn't just me anymore. I did get married and now I'm gonna have a kid, so it was like a newfound family. So I made sure I applied for government housing while I was pregnant, while I was working hard to get as much money as I could. And I knew that it was something that you kind of had to go on a waiting list for this thing, so it was going to take a long time in the background anyways, so I wasn't too worried. But I got a surprise call for the house when I was after baby girl was born, which I will touch base on separately. But it was like when she was, I want to say 10, like I got the call maybe at 8 months to indicate that I would have this place to move in in 2 months time. And it was like shocking, because I didn't know that I would get a call that long. I thought I was going to be on a waiting list for a very long time, so I was pleasantly surprised. What I did while I was pregnant and basically just trying to wrap up school and trying to work and get as much money as possible, I just made sure that I just kept focused, and I wanted to have a plan, and I wanted to kind of be a couple steps ahead of the game, make sure that we were equipped with what we needed. And so that's why we did things the way we did. We were also already kind of looking at apartments and stuff on our own that weren't the housing, because there's a stigma associated with that. Like, I know the stigma is associated with women and government housing, and it's like once you're there, you're kind of trapped because you get kind of used to the idea that, oh, this is yours, but it's not really, because it belongs to the government, and you can't really make any moves. You can't really work too much, or if you're working too much, then you start paying full rent, or just all these different things. And it's set up in a sense where it does semi-trap you unless you are smart, unless you work hard, unless you are you have to also kind of be fair in what you're doing. And so I was just like, oh, like I don't want to get trapped there per se. And I'm not trying to say anything ill or negative of anyone who lives in housing. I'm thankful for the opportunity that we had to be able to live there for, short term until we got on our feet, because it helped us to be strong. It helped to motivate us and direct us as to how we, and just help us to get to where we are today. And as much as like even now where my husband works, and he's successful in his company, or yeah, he's successful in his career path, and having to pay a lot of taxes. I can't even feel ill about having to pay so much taxes, because those tax money is what helped us when we needed all the help. And I'm so thankful for that. So overall, I basically kind of just had a 9-month plan. Technically, I say 9-month plan because I was pregnant for 9 months, but I had this plan in between. I had this plan to just try to make sure I'm taking care of steps along the way. And it was really healthy. It's very good to be strategic. If you are a teen mom that perhaps is pregnant, or even, if you're watching this beforehand, I would say wrap it up. Like, don't go out there and get pregnant, because it is hard. One thing that I know for myself is that I knew that my child was going to mean the world to me, and you want to give them your absolute best. Like, you don't want to come up short. You don't want to anything that you may feel that was like a short, that you felt short of as you maybe when you're a child. You want to make sure you can give it to them. And if you're not equipped to give it to them, then you're setting them up to follow like the same footsteps, to fall short in areas because you just aren't equipped to give it to them. And we will never be fully equipped to give our kids everything they want and need. But when we work usually a little bit, and get to adulthood and work towards those goals, we have a better chance of equipping our future seeds, with the things that we work hard for, versus when you just kind of get knocked up as a teen. So like that was the part that made me nervous, just trying to always wonder how I was going to provide, how things were going to be. And it was not always easy. Like, it wasn't easy at all, but that's jumping ahead of the story. Overall, in terms of school, for me, because I did get pregnant so like at the end of my high school, I was able to graduate. I was able to achieve what I needed to. And like, I think at the end, I actually thought I passed one course that I didn't, and I ended up having to do it through what do you call it, through distance ed. And that was a pain in the butt, and I had to do that like after baby girl was born. But I thought I graduated fully, and I didn't. I was missing one course. But at the end of the day, I didn't go to my graduation. Neither did hubby, even though he passed. And I'm talking a lot about things on my end, but on his end, he was busy working hard, and at the same time, he already applied to go to school. So he was going to be an engineer, and that's what he's always wanted to do, and that's what he went to school for. And I was very proud of him that he was working towards his dreams, because it's like, if I'm knocked up, if one of us can't do it, hopefully the other can. And God has been good, because that's what happened. It's like, in my case, he was there, and we were basically like a driving force for each other. We definitely supported each other, because even though he had the brains and the direction, he wasn't always on track in terms of like the friends or the influence that was in his life. And I always had to kind of like be mother and encourage him to go to school, encourage him to go to work, get his work done, and just things like that. And And yeah, we just encouraged each other. I did forget to mention in one of the videos in the past that it's so funny because when I first found out that I was pregnant, one of the main things that I wanted to do, and I don't know if this is, if other girls have ever done this, but one of my main thing was like, oh my gosh, you know, you don't have to stay. That was like one of the first things I said to him, but I totally forgot to mention it in the first video. I'm like, you don't have to stay, like you don't have to, because I didn't want him to feel trapped. I didn't want him to feel like he was like, you know, like he had to stick around and be a father. And it sounds stupid because of course I want my kid to have a father, but as a mom, I don't know, I'm here thinking about my kids, but then I'm also thinking about this guy because I didn't want to like ruin his opportunity or his potential. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's a result of me, this girl who didn't use a condom or didn't have birth control. You know what I mean? Like there's a sense of responsibility that I felt on myself, but that, gosh, like this decision is good. I don't want it to ruin him and ruin what his future plans are. So that was another thing to take into account. And I know that like this is another thing, like when teenagers do get themselves in these situations, their focus is so one-dimensional. They're only looking at like one aspect of things. They're not really dissecting it and looking at the whole picture, because it's just like recently that I came across an article, and I actually want to touch base on it in a separate video, but I came across like a message from this girl who was saying that she wants to get pregnant at 16, and I'm just like mind blown. Like I was just shocked. So I'm going to talk about it separately in another video, because I definitely have some advice for this person, but I'm not sure where in the sequence of this video it's going to go. It might go, I don't know. I want this to make sense, so I probably will put it at the end. But yeah, like she wants to get pregnant and it's not working, and in my mind I'm just like, wow, you just don't have a clue. And I'm probably going to end up on that note, because those of you that have been teen moms, I know you understand. You know exactly how hard it is to even just to take care of your kids, the sleepless nights, the idea of watching those around you succeed, or getting up, doing what they need to do while you got to be mom at home, while you got to make sure your kids in good hands. You got to pay for diapers, you got to pay for food, your body takes a toll. It's a big price to pay, and it's a big price to pay too when you're not in like a solid relationship with someone who is there till death do you part, and as well as being there to with you through the thick and the thin when your body does metamorphosize into something else. And they're just like, oh, that's that's a whole nother topic. So I think that's pretty much it. This segment was actually just me sharing my 9-month plan of just getting my degree, getting work and money saved up, preparing myself with the government housing, and just getting prepared for the next big step in our life, and that would be the birth of our child. So stay tuned for that vlog. Stay tuned for that part 4, because obviously that's like the big game changer that just shifts everything. And then yeah, it's just like a wake-up call. That's when the real, all the preparing that I was doing could never fully prepare me for what I was about to embark upon, because it was a totally different chapter than anything I've ever known before. So if you guys want to know more, definitely stay tuned for this segment. I'm really enjoying sharing my story with you guys, so I'm hoping you're enjoying watching it. And if you are, definitely leave a comment down below and hit that like button, guys. If you're new, also subscribe, as well as turn on your notification bell so you will be alerted for when all of my videos are uploaded. And I will for sure be continuing with this series, and it will just continue as it progresses. I will change it into like different series. So right now it's focused on teen pregnancy because it's quite a bit of series, it's a number of series. And then I'm going to be doing the pregnancy marriage, when the marriage part occurs, and like there's just or young teen mom at home, young teen mom life, like things like that. There's just like a whole bunch and then we'll go into marriage, motherhood, and pregnancy related, and like all that stuff. So there's just a lot to cover, and I'm very excited to share it all with you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, much love.